What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's episode of The Sports Sermon. We are brought to you by Scooch, the most functional phone case on the market. Check out ScoochCase.com to get yours today and use the code SPORTS18, sports with a Z, of course, to get a 10% discount on your order. Stay tuned till the end for a special Scooch giveaway as well. But now, today's episode. So we're here today to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. I am Jason Gandhi. I am joined by Dylan and Dan. Our squad is here today, and we are here to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. But before I get into that, I wanted to let you know where you can find this show. You can find it on YouTube, Soundcloud, Spotify, and iTunes. Make sure you check all of those out. Follow us on Twitter at The Sports Sermon. That is where we post up-to-date news on when the podcasts are coming out and more. Let's get right into it, boys. Paul George came back to Oklahoma City. Were you surprised? What do you think of the decision?
So I was a little bit surprised. I mean, OKC always seemed to be second on Paul George's list, but somehow Russell Westbrook brainwashed him to not even take a meeting with the Lakers. It's a huge win for OKC, and as weird as it sounds to say, I'm excited to see what they can do without Melo.
Really?
I wasn't a little surprised. I was very surprised. I mean, Paul George was saying Lakers all the way, like, for a long time, so none of it made sense, as I don't even know the details, but he could have gotten a lot more money if he didn't sign a 4-year deal. I don't know all those details, but so the contract surprised me the most, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was surprised, not for the same reason you guys were. I was surprised not because he didn't take a meeting. I think that people are making too much big of a deal about these meetings. It is 2018. They know what these teams look like. They are smart guys. Their agents are smart guys. They don't need to have... I mean, some players like that. Some players want the, tell me why I'm great, tell me why you want me. And like, maybe that's you, maybe that's not. I don't think many players turn that down, but also I don't think it's a necessity. We saw it with LeBron. We saw it with other teams. They don't need that. For me, I was more surprised that I just don't see the vision he has. I don't see ooh, this team is going to be better than what I could do in LA. This team is even better than we were last year. Russell Westbrook and Andre Robertson must have done it for him. And if that's what works, I mean, go for it, buddy. But Westbrook is not a great team player. And honestly, I think it's so weird how much of an effect Andre Robertson had on his decision. Like, dude, he's not that good. He's a good defender. He's a great defender. But, like, he said in an interview in the middle of, like, March or April or something, he talked about, like, how Roberson's injury is the reason they weren't playing very well. And, like, if he was healthy, they would be so much better and all this. Like, I don't know. I want to see that. I want to see, does Roberson actually help them that much? Because what happens when they're a 5 seed again? I mean, I thought they overachieved to the 5 seed with the team they had last year. If I was Paul George,
I expected more. At the start of the season, I expected more.
From the whole time, I mean, I went on record the month before the podcast. Dylan and I wrote an article on our expectation for the season. One of them was the Thunder. I said this is going to blow up in their face. I didn't see it working. I still don't see it working. Melo's gone, Dylan, you mentioned. I don't think he had that much of an effect. I don't think he hurt or helped. Like, he's just bad.
I think it was
he was fine.
I think it was a huge piece. I mean, I think he negatively affected them in so many ways. And then they got Dennis Schroeder out of a trade.
Yeah, I mean, that helped. I'm just saying, like, Melo, personally, I don't think he was the reason they lost last year. For me, if I'm Paul George, this would have been option number 3 out of 4. I would have looked at LA. I would have rather gone to Philly also. I thought Philly was the perfect... Like, if I'm Philadelphia, I thought Paul George was the perfect fit for Philadelphia. Then Oklahoma City, then the Houston Rockets have been like my 4 teams in that order. But also, I didn't spend a year in Oklahoma City. That's the thing I think we are discounting as fans is he spent a year with these guys. If he really buys it, I mean, I'm not going to question it. Well, I don't agree. It's just like he spent a year with them. It's not like this is some random... Like, he didn't pick the Sixers over the Lakers without taking a meeting. Like, he picked his team that he played with this year. So, like, it is what it is. I was salty about it earlier. I'm kind of glad he's gone. Not really, but like, not glad, but like, we're fine without him. Like, we don't need him. We had LeBron. We'll get Kawhi next
Jason's
year.
a Lakers fan, if you didn't know.
Yeah, sorry, I've got to clarify. I'm a Laker fan. So, I was mad. I'm not really anymore. I'm just kind of like, you do you, buddy. Have fun wasting your career in Oklahoma City being a 6 seed.
Because, I mean, the Lakers are going to get somebody next offseason.
Yeah,
so.
And he'll be sitting there wishing it was him. But...
Yep.
Let's go into a signing that went kind of under the radar. No one really talked about it. We talked about it a lot, the EVA free agency. Nerlens Noel. Dan and I both thought he'd sign for cheap to go to a playoff team. Dylan thought he'd go get his money. He kind of did both. He signed for cheap, but not like on a great team. He signed for cheap on like a fine team. What do you guys think of the fit?
I thought it was a great move for Oklahoma City. He still has a lot of potential. He's very young. And the Thunder needed more big man depth. I think him and Schroeder can run a pick and roll off the bench, those two guys, and they'll be great at it. And I think, it's much needed depth for the Thunder, especially behind Patterson and Adams.
Yeah, if I was Nerlens, then I would like to go to a more proven team. Like,
play for the Warriors.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I mean, they would take you. Like, go play for the Warriors.
Yeah, but I mean,
go play for the Celtics. Like,
if you think about it, the Thunder needed him though. Like, I
don't know.
He had a terrible year with the Mavs last year. I didn't like his year, but
he didn't play rarely at all, did he?
I mean, yeah, but when he didn't play well.
It was just like a wasted year.
Yeah, but he's still an okay role player, and he'll give you some good defense. And he can give Adams a rest at times and just fill a role. So it's good for the Thunder, but it's not good for Nerlens. I didn't think it was solid.
See, I disagree with you guys. I don't understand what they're doing in Oklahoma City. This is such a head-scratching team to me. They have this exact same player in Steven Adams, a rebounder that can't do much besides defend and rebound. That's exactly what Nerlens Noel is. He can't stretch the floor. He's not going to beat you up with his offense. Maybe they want to do what they did with Enes Kanter and Steven Adams a few years ago when it was Durant and Westbrook. If they're trying to recreate that team, if they think Paul George and Nerlens Noel are better than Kevin Durant and Enes Kanter, go for it. But for me, this team just does not make sense all the way around. We'll get into more of that as I talk about the ceiling, which is our next question with Schroeder and all of that fit. But for me, I really just think this team is constructed very differently than I would expect with the way the NBA is trending. With that being said, let's get into my last question for you guys. One, what are your guys' expectations for the Thunder? But two, you look at their starting five: Westbrook, Roberson, George, Patterson, Adams, with Noel, Schroeder, Terrence Ferguson, Jeremy Grant, those type players coming off the bench. What is the ceiling for that team?
I think their ceiling is the 3 seed. I expect them to be one of the better teams in the West outside of the Warriors and Rockets. And even the Rockets are a question mark too. A lot of things would have to go right, but I think there is potential for this team to beat them in the playoffs. I'm high on the Thunder. I like them.
Yeah, if it plays out like last year, the expectation should be the 3 seed. Ceiling for me, though, is 52 wins. They got to 48 last year and lost Melo, which won't hurt anything. Maybe George and Westbrook just fell in love with each other and will ball out, but probably not. So, 3 seed, you look at last year, and it was such a close race. Anything could have happened between that 3 seed and 9.
And the Thunder really struggled earlier in the season. They could have easily had some extra wins from them when they were trying to figure out everything with Melo, and that didn't work out. Yeah. So I see them getting some extra wins without that big distraction. That's why I have them.
I see about the same. So,
yeah, I do not agree with you guys. I don't buy this team in the way it's constructed. You look at it, they have a lot of awkward fits. They could come together, but I don't see how. Westbrook and Schroeder have comparable games. They do the same thing, only Westbrook's better at it. They aren't deep behind Andre Roberson and PG. They aren't very deep besides Patterson and Adams. They have Nerlens Noel, but, there's no guarantee he fits. He could be a fizzled-out player just like he was in Dallas and Philadelphia. They're a 5 or 6 seed this year at best. I see their ceiling 55 wins and maybe that 4 or 5 seed. But I think they're going to have a brutally tough series in the first round. You get a 5 seed, you play the 4, or you get a 6 seed, you play the 3. I don't see them getting out of the first round again because, you look at the teams in this division. How are they going to beat a Lakers team with LeBron James? How are they going to beat the Pelicans, Anthony Davis? They just don't...
Oh, shoot. That's what I forgot.
Pelicans?
Yeah, okay, 4 seed, my bad. I was looking at last year, so I was looking at the teams.
Pelicans are a sneaky
Lakers.
Good team,
Lakers is what I'm thinking about. I totally forgot about them. Lakers will have the 3 seed probably.
Really?
3 or 4.
Yeah. So I see OKC 4 seed is mine.
Yeah, for me, I'm really like the Pelicans. I think they're slept on so much. The signings they made make them such a better team. They made their push without DeMarcus Cousins, so I don't look at him as part of that team. Their 5 last year was Rondo, Drew Holiday, Eachwan Moore, Anthony Davis, and who was their center? Mirotic. It was Mirotic at the 4 and him at the 5. They get a guy like Julius Randle, who's a stud, along with Elfrid Payton to run the show. I think this team is going to be a top 5 seed with the Pelicans. So I think the Thunder, I really don't buy the Thunder ability just because, they all do the same thing. How are they going to score offensively besides Russell Westbrook and Paul George? Because they can't average 40, 50 at night. Like, they're going to have Steven Adams is not a scorer. Roberson's not a scorer, obviously. Patrick Patterson's not that healthy, much less good. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't buy it. Dennis Schroeder's going to have to be one heck of a six-man for them to be successful. Any last thoughts on the Thunder?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Good riddance of Melo.
You're a hater on Melo, aren't you?
He was just not a good fit.
You also
He's
tweeted
old.
about his bricks. You just don't like him.
I don't think Thunder fans like him either.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm very sure they don't like him. Well, that's going to do it. Before I wrap this up, I want to make sure I talk to you about Scooch. I'm going to up the offer from 10% to 15% just for you guys with the code SPORTS18, sports with a Z. Also, if you comment and subscribe, you'll be entered for a free Scooch case in the month of August. We just gave away the one from July. Make sure you get a jump on the people in August. Thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Twitter and on YouTube at The Sports Sermon, sports with a Z. And we will see you guys later. Deuces.